Well, North Korea's leader Kim Jong Un is set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in the coming days. Kim is reported to be traveling by train from Pyongyang to the eastern Russian city of Vladivostok. It's his first trip abroad in 4 years and comes at a time when both leaders are increasingly isolated on the world stage. U.S. intelligence is warning that the pair are nearing an arms deal that could violate international sanctions, something both of them have denied. Those pictures there from his last trip to Russia. Let's bring in Yeon Shin, a reporter and news anchor with South Korea's Arirang TV, joining us from the capital of South Korea, Seoul. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us. We know South Korean media are reporting that Kim Jong Un is already en route to Vladivostok. What more can you tell us?
Right. So both North Korea and Pyongyang, North Korea and Russia have confirmed that the two leaders of Pyongyang and Moscow will meet up. The North state-run Korea Central News Agency said Putin had invited Kim to the top summit and that the Kremlin has officially confirmed that Kim will be visiting Russia. And a key South Korean government official also said earlier today that an armored train that Kim usually rides for foreign visits had departed with the regime's leader on board for Russia on Sunday afternoon. So given his past trips and how long it took him before, Kim is expected to arrive in Vladivostok on Tuesday and then meet Putin on either the 12th or 13th. But we're still waiting for more details. And it's worth noting that in the first time in more than 4 years, the North Korean leader is making an international trip. His last trip abroad was also to Vladivostok in 2019, and that was before the pandemic. And this was at the time his first summit with Putin after Pyongyang failed to come to a middle ground with then U.S. President Donald Trump on nuclear disarmament talks.
Yeah, and concern from U.S. intelligence here that these two leaders are going to be trying to finalize an arms deal. What does North Korea have to offer Russia and vice versa?
Right. So this is coming at a time when both countries really need each other. So we're still expecting to hear details on when the meeting will take place, what will be discussed. But as you mentioned before, it's been long anticipated that a potential arms sales will be discussed. Russia is most likely to ask North Korea for conventional arms, including artillery shells and rocket artillery munitions. And the weapons that were shown at the meeting, remember back in July, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu met up with Kim Jong Un. And at the time, Kim Jong Un showed the North's well-known Hwasong ICBM, the first thought to be used solid propellant. So the North has made it clear that it has enough sophisticated weaponry that it could offer to Russia. In the meantime, North Korea in return would most likely receive food and raw materials, along with continuous support at international forums like the United Nations. What's also worth noting is that the North recently, on September 9th, during its annual opening ceremony as to celebrating its anniversary, its founding anniversary, at the time, Kim Jong Un made clear that North Korea would continue to develop a submarine that could launch tactical nuclear weapons. And at the time, the one that was revealed was called Kim Gonok. It was named after a military hero and thought to be used for preemptive or retaliatory attacks. And it showed that once North Korea has this submarine, it would be able to perfect its second strike capability, which means its ability to respond to a nuclear attack with nuclear retaliation. And for some time now, Kim Jong Un has made it clear that having this nuclear-propelled submarine, which can run without refueling for 20 years or even longer, is one of his main military objectives because it's really hard to detect, right?
Yeah.
So if Moscow and Pyongyang do have an arms deal, this could shorten the amount of time that the North would be able to have its SLBMs on this submarine and shorten the time that it actually perfects its second strike capability.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on DW News with that update. That is Yeon Shin joining us from Seoul.